dominated the world have used money to rule it and have ruled it in their own interest. It looks at a world economic system that has no regard for the poor, that has no regard for the small nations, that has no regard for the poor of the small nations. And the policy is a dignified policy, is not a violent policy, is not a policy of guns. It's a very honorable policy, but it is a very clear policy. It is a policy that calls the poor of the world to stand together, to stand firm together, to struggle together, to struggle for change, to struggle for justice, to struggle through organization, to struggle through will, to struggle through determination, to struggle to build a new kind of world in which your children and mine will walk with more dignity, with better housing, with better opportunity, with better prices, with better response from the World Monetary System. That is the world to which I call you. That is the world for which I struggle, and no power will turn me back from that world. And comrades, if you go and walk with me, if you go and step with me, if you go and move with me, we're moving as warriors. We're moving in determination. We're moving to struggle. We're moving to change that world. No power will turn us back.
Me ever fresh, me no green.
Me coulda never green, dog. Me no chow chow. No. Ha 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 ho ho. Who ya know?
But if change is what we really want to see, ladies and gentlemen, then we must rise up. We must unite. We must advocate. We cannot remain silent. Where are the young men, the young women, the men, the women, the boys, the girls who will put aside political divide and do what is best for Jamaica? Eternal Father, bless our land. Guide us with thy mighty hand. Keep us free from evil powers. Be our light through countless hours. Even our pledge, our national pledge, says before God and all mankind, we cannot see a better Jamaica unless we return to the foot of the cross. Jamaica under God must increase in beauty, fellowship and prosperity, and play our part.
If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And he's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
Oh, you know. I want to hear the angels singing. I want to be in that number. I want to hear that trumpet song. We are now. I want to hear archangel voice. I want to hear archangel. What I want to hear when my name is called. I want to hear. Everybody know. I want to hear. I want to hear. I want to hear. I want to hear. Watch out now. I want to see the angel marching. I want to be in that number. I want to hear. I want to hear that trumpet song. I want to hear archangel voice. I want to hear. God bless you now. I want to hear. When the name is called, I want to hear. Everybody do so. If I'm not living for Christ, then I cannot be. Get something and wave it. Get something and wave it. Get something and. If I'm not living for Christ, then I cannot be happy. Walk out, Christian, walk out, Christian. I only live my life to please. Send me rocking for the road and the star on my phone. I only live my life to please. Live up my life. Come on, man, we have done, man. Everybody, so. Live up my life. Live for Jesus. This is silent night. What a holy night. But Virgin Mother and Child, holy, so tender. Talk to me now. But sweetly, God bless you. And we tell some people, I know one prayer we pray. We pray.
Blood and fire, comrades who are in jungle tonight. On the nose that the word is love. Comrades, I come with a speech, but it's a different speech may I forgive tonight. But before I go into that, we have been saying all night that young people know say time come. And I want to bring up a young man who has looked for himself him read for himself, him search for himself, and when him done, him realize that the only choice he could choose is the People's National Party. And I want to welcome Comrade Perry.
Hold on. We don't have much time. When I say time, you say come. Time. Senator Murray, somebody asked me, Perry, why aren't you a Labourite? Me ever fresh, me no green.
Me coulda never green dog, me no chow-chow. No. Ha, ho. Who you know? Underpants, Paolo. We don't get in
Hold on, cut in, man, hold on.
Me coulda never green.
Hold on, no DJ, man, hold on. I don't have much time. The next Prime Minister, let me shake your hands, so big up yourself, Mark Golding, Jensek, and brother, Dayton Campbell, doctor. Listen, in 1938, the People's National Party was formed out of the vision to help the poor people. It was born out of restlessness of the people seeking for better. And I believe that the People's National Party continues to be the answer for the people. Can I hear an amen? Hold on. In 1995, under the auspices of PJ Patson, the most honorable, there was a revitalization and an extension of the new National Youth Service Program, which gave young people the opportunity to earn commandment church. It gave people the opportunity to better themselves. I don't have much time, but hear what? I hear the other people them say, you must choose Jamaica, but you can't choose Jamaica without choosing the people. God bless you.
Me coulda never green dog, me no chow-chow. No. Ha, ho. Me coulda never green dog, me no chow-chow.
Where's your flag, comrades?
Comrades, I want to let you know that young man is the former guild president at the University of the West Indies. That is the kind of young people that we attract in the People's National Party.
A corrupt government cannot liberate the people. If the head of the stream is corrupt, the entire river will be also. I do not support corruption. Corruption takes money away from children's education. It deprives hospitals of basic necessities. It means that roads are not fixed. Corruption deepens inequality. It siphons off taxpayers' money to make a few cronies richer with the political connections instead of benefiting the people. This government has been doing everything it can to weaken and undermine the Integrity Commission, which is an institution that I designed as Minister of Justice and brought the legislation to Parliament to fight corruption in this country. I have said it before and I will tell you again. Jamaica cannot move forward without a government built on integrity that embraces principles of good governance in this country.
The perspective with Perry Cummings Jr. Big up yourself. The best is yet to come. This is my perspective. Telling you my perspective. This is my perspective to bring change that I feel me objective. Scandal after scandal. Look where Jamaica come to. Them a rob the money and a thief a lot too. Election tactics, what a disgrace. Them cut off ribbon and the place no safe. It's a prime minister. Are you me a address? Police a kill off the youth if you check. Talking about the way country are the best. But though this are my perspective, telling you my perspective. This are my perspective to bring change that I feel me.
This is my perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant night to you all. God is really good. Just coming off the road, but thank you all for tuning in. Let me know where you're viewing from. We have quite a show tonight. I'm probably gonna be here for a little while tonight because when I was looking through social media, looking through the different news outlets, I recognize that there is a lot happening. There is a lot happening. Share up the platform, ladies and gentlemen, and tell somebody that Perry Cummings Jr. is here. Just let me know where you're viewing from right away. We really want to get into what we have for you tonight. Florida, blessings, man. Come on, man, ladies and gentlemen. Delaware is here. St. Elizabeth is here. Come on. Who else? Georgia is here. Good night. Come on. Like up and share up, ladies and gentlemen. Like up and share up. Like up and share up. Like up and share up. Yes. Like up and share up. Wells. Loidersville, St. Catherine. I might place that too, you know. Kingston 20. How you feeling? Spanish Town, Portmore. How you feeling? How you feeling? Come on. Wells. New York is in the building. Somebody say amen, no man. God is good. I'm very, very excited about tonight's show. Actually, we're going to be touching on some very sensitive matters tonight. Some very sensitive matters tonight. And I want you all to bear with me because I'm going to be opening the phone lines very soon. Richmond, Virginia, blessings. Bronx, New York. I'm going to be opening up because we have to talk about the Silveria case. Ladies and gentlemen, it bother me. We have to talk about the Silveria case. Because me here say a big protest go on. I heard that a protest happened today. The numbers never really represent what I heard, what was intended. But it is very concerning. So please stick around and we will somebody messaging me. I am on. So ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have to talk about the Silveria case. Somebody said New York is very cold. Brooklyn, New York is very, very cold. Well, ladies and gentlemen, East Portland is in the building. I didn't expect. I didn't know that Bronx was still cold. Well, you can imagine. Somebody says their first time watching. Well, welcome. Please ensure that you subscribe. Turn on the notifications as well, right? And you can refer the platform to somebody else. But somebody said you just find me while I'm here. Me no last. Me no last. Ladies and gentlemen, there's something seriously happening in this country. Our children are not safe. I'm going to start it like this. Our children are not safe. Our children are not safe, and I am very concerned. I'm very concerned. Jamaica is not a village for the children anymore. East Rural, St. Andrew, Bridget Walker, blessings. The country isn't safe. The country it's not conducive, right, for the growth of our children. And I've been hearing some things in the news lately, and I have to make mention of it. What is happening to our children? Why is it that infanticide is happening in this nation? Have you been seeing the news? Well, we're going to touch on it. Because guess what going on now? Somebody said it's 33 degrees. 33 degrees in Bronx, New York. Well, that's interesting. That's interesting. Women of Fire, good night. I'm going to share with you what is happening with our children. Very, very serious matter. And I want us to talk about it because our children are under siege. And nobody's taking this thing seriously. Where is the village that is supposed to be raising our children? Where is the village that should be putting our children in a safe space, in a safe place? You understand, ladies and gentlemen? June blessings. Where is the village that should be raising our children? The Prime Minister and this government is out and about, making it seem as if Jamaica is the safest place. Jamaica is not the place to raise families anymore. Every look you look, ladies and gentlemen, something is terribly wrong, and our children are in trouble.
A 5-year-old died in Rocky Point, Clarendon Sunday evening. The child reportedly drowned while playing at home. We have the details in this report.
Police back at the investigation scene in Rocky Point. They're probing the death of a 5-year-old Rakima Williams who took her last breath right here. It is reported the child drowned in the grey still water in the manhole sometime after 6 Sunday evening. The child reportedly fell into the manhole seemingly while playing with this football. When we visited the family Monday, they stared aimlessly, hands on cheek, their grief heavy and real. Grief only matched by the panic Sunday evening when the child could not be found. Her mother, during the frantic search, noticed a stone which had been used to block the manhole opening had been moved. When she looked inside, she saw her daughter's body. The child could not be resuscitated and was taken to hospital where she was pronounced dead.
Rock is everybody person. Everybody, if you don't laugh a morning, why you see Rock come, you have to laugh. You might tell us something. She make you laugh. Me love me baby dearly to my heart. Me don't know what go wrong, but me ask the nation worldwide to help me. To help me. She be making that angel for over my family. Me ask you now, every sinner, every Christian, that's all me ask you now. Turn up in a gap for me.
By Monday, news of the tragedy had spread to her school, and so too did the grief.
Well, it's very gloomy as one can expect. We're just trying to hold up and to encourage each other. For the children, every now and then, somebody will start just from nowhere, just start talking about her.
Any other Monday, Rakima would occupy her desk and chair. Today, only letters and art pieces from her friends sit in her place. She's gone, and they wish it was not so.
Rakima is a promising student, and she likes to talk about her father. She enjoys hands-on activities, so she will participate, and she's very helpful. She will always ask if you need any help, any assistance to help to pack away. Sometimes not only for my class, but sometimes she will go over even to class 2 to help the teacher to organize their stuff.
The Clarendon police are investigating. Nakinski Robinson, TVJ News.
Our children are not safe, ladies and gentlemen. Our children are not safe. I said it some time ago, and I'll say it again. It's sad. It's sad. It's sad. But here's what I will say. Jamaica, and I've been saying this for some time, Jamaica will be treated based on how we treat our children. We have to show greater care, greater kindness, greater love towards our children, because Jamaica will be treated according to how we treat our children in this country. It's unfortunate that a future doctor, a future lawyer, probably the future prime minister of this country, it's gone. We must love our children again. Today, ladies and gentlemen, today, the police is now investigating infanticide involving a 2-month-old in Manchester. You realize that Jamaica is not a safe place anymore. There was a time, ladies and gentlemen, where our children would be off limits. It didn't matter what the situation. People would leave the children out of it. That is not the case today. So our babies are not even safe in Jamaica anymore. Our babies are not safe anymore, ladies and gentlemen. We can talk about the highfalutin. Listen, the government can say anything that they want to say. A 2-month-old baby reportedly died in a case of infanticide in Top Hill, Manchester on Tuesday morning. The police confirmed the incident and said the child's mother is suspected to have drowned the infant in a bucket of water. This is a suspicion. But in today's day and age, ladies and gentlemen, I wonder if it was a case where the mother is on her postpartum. I'm wondering. Because you know that a lot of mothers, especially first-time mothers, they tend to go through a phase, ladies and gentlemen, especially when there's no emotional support for them. Probably, and I'm assuming, probably the father is not around. Because remember, we have a society where a lot of our fathers are missing, and a lot of this stress is left for our mothers to endure. Could it be postpartum? But it is sad that our children are perishing before our very eyes, and there is not a greater outcry from the people in this country. Our babies are dying. Somebody said the father is there. Well, wow, this is so unfortunate. It is sad, ladies and gentlemen. There was a time when our babies were protected. Our children would be spared. People would go above and beyond to protect our children. It was an unsaid rule. People didn't need to worry about the safety of our children. Because the babies, even the bad man, if they were going into a community to shoot up the place, it was a code, ladies and gentlemen. Don't leave the children alone. Don't touch the babies. Leave the girls out of it. Leave the mother, leave the woman out of it. But no, even the very parents, you have to wonder. And then somebody is saying that the mother has mental issues. I believe we need to take mental health very seriously in this country. We need to take mental health seriously, because, ladies and gentlemen, it can only, what could somebody say? It's postpartum. Listen to what I'm saying. We have to take these things seriously, and that's why it's so important for us to really and truly stand with our fellow citizens. It's very important. Somebody said, Ricardo, where is the village? There's no village anymore for our children. That village that village gone long time. There was a time when the village included the church, included the schools, and you could trust certain people to take care of your children. Even if you're not there, you could send your child or your children to school, and you would be positive, you would be sure that they would be okay. You cannot take that chance anymore. They can't take that chance anymore, ladies and gentlemen, because the village is gone. The institution called family, it is a very important institution in society. If the social institution called the family is broken down across several communities, across several parishes, if the families are being destroyed, ladies and gentlemen, I kid you not, our children will be worse off. For a healthy family to thrive, you need both parents. God-fearing parents, parents who know right from wrong, who are willing to pass on certain mores so that our children will grow up to be upstanding citizens in society. Good night, Ivan. But in Jamaica, there seems to be a breakdown of the family structure. The Bible says that our children are having children now. Children are having children. Blazing TV view blessing. Children are having children now. And because of that, ladies and gentlemen, nobody is there to pass on anything anymore. Nobody's passing on anything anymore. So I am worried about our children, ladies and gentlemen. It is a sad, traumatic news to hear that the mother was the one suspected to have put this baby in a bucket of water, and just like that, the baby is gone. Very sad. Very, very sad. Very sad. I feel it. Public bodies must justify use of emergency procurement procedures. Ladies and gentlemen, when Mr. Vaz was out there talking about emergency and that he apparently had to do certain things, you would think that there were no rules to engage. But I'm happy that the actual body is coming out. The Chief Public Procurement Policy Officer at the Ministry of Finance and Public Service, Jovel Barrett, is coming out to let people know that they must carefully justify any decision to invoke emergency procurement procedures, as these rules are not designed for automatic or prolonged use. But in a recent interview, ladies and gentlemen, it was said that emergency procurement is governed by strict conditions. Strict conditions that require proper assessment before activation. But in this country, ladies and gentlemen, we have politicians. Good night, Aunt Murray. We have politicians who will go around, disregard the rules that have been put in place, disregard the rules and regulations in the name of an emergency. And in doing so, ladies and gentlemen, you as a civilian, you would think that anything goes in this country because people are coming out and talking about bureaucracy and that there are too many red tapes and it is preventing the government from doing much. Well, let me tell you this. It is very clear, ladies and gentlemen, that no politician should just get up and do what they want to do with the people's resources and ignore the rules and regulations that are in place. But I have a problem with a lot of these procurement committees, because when the procurement committee saw red flags as it related to how Minister Vaz procured the yellow buses, they ignored it and they endorsed the procurement, though there were clear breaches. So I have a problem, ladies and gentlemen, with a lot of these organizations and committees. They're coming out now to tell us what? Huh? But you were the ones who supported these things. Nobody was there to say, Minister Vaz, no, you're wrong. That is not how it works. That is not how it works. There are rules and guidelines put in place to ensure transparency. And it is very important that we drive these things home, ladies and gentlemen. I have a problem with some of these ministers, and I'm still asking for the resignation of Minister Vaz, Mr. Tufton, Mr. Mackenzie, and I believe an uncertified Prime Minister has no business occupying the office.
It's the Muppet Show!
A lot of these politicians, ladies and gentlemen, they go around, do what they want to do, and then there is no remorse. There is no regard. And that for me is a problem. And while our politicians continue to waste taxpayers' money, because I'm not hearing anything about the yellow bus anymore, this is the problem that I'm having. We cannot be like some of those labor right bloggers, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot allow conversations to die out. Auntie Fayeval must go as well. I'm not sparing. I warned Auntie Fayeval a long time ago. I told Auntie Fayeval to run for her life. Because a time is coming, ladies and gentlemen, when the bull hits the fan, people will be thrown under buses like never before. People will be thrown under those same yellow buses that the minister brought into the country. And now it has failed. The entire rural bus system has failed. When I warned the Minister Fayeval to leave, she stuck around. She must deal with the consequences that will come. I am waiting to hear that budget presentation. I am waiting to hear that budget presentation. I am waiting to hear what the opposition will say about the new taxes that they want to implement. I am waiting to hear what the opposition will say about the many breaches, courtesy, brought to you by Minister Vaz. I am waiting to hear, because I am demanding resignations now. I am demanding resignations now. Cannot continue like this. It cannot continue like this. Ladies and gentlemen, and with all of this happening, brace yourselves, because something is going to hit Jamaica like never before. When you talk about the economy being impacted, when you talk about inflation going up, when you talk about the price of oil and other things, remember we touched on it yesterday. Jamaica is an import-dependent economy. We buy everything. And because of that, ladies and gentlemen, and the crisis happening in the Middle East, you can just imagine what will happen to this country. Listen to the experts.
And now back to our lead story. Kimberly Petty will tell us about this escalating geopolitical situation in the Middle East.
As Jamaica scrambles to rebuild 5 months on from Hurricane Melissa, more fallout could be on the horizon for the island due to the U.S.-Iran conflict affecting the Persian Gulf. Missiles have been dotting the night skies and Gulf cities across the region. Economist Keenan Falconer says global shocks like these are not confined to far-off capitals. They ripple into the everyday economies of smaller states like Jamaica.
The Jamaican economy would come under some amount of inflationary pressure depending on the extent to which events in the Middle East escalate. And this has particularly acute effects for the prices of food and fuel. And initial forecasts for inflation remaining within the target band may have to be adjusted upwards. Heightened inflationary risks also may have implications for the casting of the budget, since the price of oil is a key input. The anticipated increase in inflation may also necessitate a revision to monetary policy and cause a retightening of interest rates depending on the severity of the fallout.
Mr. Falconer added that these inflationary pressures can also translate to strain on foreign exchange and our current account balance, which is already projected to be in deficit in the medium term.
So the external accounts will have to be managed very carefully. So far, tourism, remittances, and foreign investment are not expected to be directly or immediately affected. However, the overall balance of payments may come under some strain with imported inflation. Jamaica will have to focus on preserving and maintaining price stability amidst this upheaval. And with net international reserves at record levels, this provides a strong buffer against this particular shock and ensures that we have adequate coverage against adverse movements in the external accounts, including an increase in the price of imports.
Now, at least one other local player has added his voice to the conversation. President of the Westmoreland Chamber of Commerce, Moses Charber, says Jamaicans should expect an increase in fuel prices.
War is never good, and it always ends with a lot of lives being lost and hardship for a lot of people. And even though we are not directly in the line of fire here in this part of the world, it is likely to affect us. Of course, nobody knows for sure yet how long it will last for, or it's something that may end quickly. But notwithstanding all of that, whenever there's a disruption in oil supplies, fuel prices always tend to go up.
Mr. Charbar is also anticipating shipment delays.
What is likely to happen too is it may cause delays for shipments coming from overseas and increase again in prices of raw material and scarcity. And this is something we have seen happen before. And we're hoping that this time around, the duration of this war will be very short. And with that, then the effects will not be as bad as we would have seen in other times when there was war in the Middle East or other places.
He is, however, hoping that the war will not be prolonged, but in the event it does, he is imploring Jamaicans to be prepared so as to minimize the effects.
And what I would encourage us to do here in Jamaica is to do what we can to increase our local production and to conserve on the use of energy. But local production, for sure, is something we must look at now so that food safety, food security, all of those we're doing the best we can with them, because food security is number one right now. Whilst we can do without some other products that might be delayed in coming in, we certainly need to eat and take care of ourselves.
Kimberly Petty for TVJ News.
Thank you, Kimberly. Now, still to come this evening, renewed calls for partnerships as the curtains came down on the Lost in Time Festival. And in business news, RJ.
Ladies and gentlemen, all of this will be happening to Jamaica. We cannot control it, we cannot stop it, because these are the realities. And just as how I said it yesterday, I'm going to say it again. With all that is to come to our country because of the warfare in the Middle East, this government has made our lives 10 times harder. 10 times harder. What will Jamaica look like before 2026 is through? Labour rights will say that the country is in great hands. I beg to differ. Because if you look at it, ladies and gentlemen, the reality is we are in limbo. Jamaica doesn't know in what direction it is going. There's a lack of leadership in this country. Don't you feel it? Do you see any clear path forward for the country? Do you feel as if you know where the country is going? People don't seem to understand that there is nobody knows the direction that the country is going. So people can come and say anything, ladies and gentlemen. This government has made it 10 times hotter. We are unsure about the future of Jamaica. And yes, I know you cannot predict the future. But the truth is, ladies and gentlemen, when you have an administration like this that will continue to disregard the people of this nation, their needs. They're going to be imposing new taxes on the backs of the vulnerable. They will continue to raid the NHT. How are you expected to have hope in our country? In our country like this, a small island state, a small country like Jamaica that is dependent on what they import. If we don't import, ladies and gentlemen, trouble will take this country. I'm telling you. And the government, with all that is happening, you're telling me that they're not going to look and reconsider certain things? Labor rights, you don't think that a caring government, with all that is happening in our world, with the inflation that will go up, with the food prices that will be going up, don't you think that a caring government will now try to reconsider some of the things that they had on the table? Ricardo, don't you think that is what a caring government would do? To ensure that at all times, the people are able to see a way out. So let the labor rights talk. They know that troubling times are ahead. The PIOJ warns of recession as the economy contracts. All of these things are coming, ladies and gentlemen. All of these things will be hitting the country. We cannot run from it. I am asking for the government. If you care, you say that you care. The Andrew Holness-led administration, they say that they care. Well, if you care, can we see a new way forward? Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. Holness and others, with the recession that is to come, that's what the experts are saying. With the recession that is to come, with the trade routes to be cut off, with the food prices to go sky high, will the government come up with a new way forward? I would like to see what will happen. I want to know what will happen to this country under this administration. You understand? Don't big up yourself. If you can juggle platforms, juggle platforms. But when I am late and I want to come and do my show, I will do my show. You know, but if you can juggle like a skillful baller, but I will not avoid my platform because I'm late. When I do get my 9 to 5, I will be coming on around this time. So if you can hop between platforms, all right? But there's no care coming from this administration, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm gonna ham. The laborers don't like when I say these things. You know what is the truth? The reality is the international standard. The international standard for any government after a natural disaster like that take place. The normal way to go about it, ladies and gentlemen, is to give the people tax breaks. You don't put new taxes on a people and they've not yet recovered from a hurricane of that nature. Remember, you know, this is the administration that always reminds us. They will always remind us of how powerful the hurricane was. The strongest the earth has ever produced. The strongest Jamaica has ever experienced. Because they are trying to use that as an excuse for their incompetence. But one could reason the other way. Mr. Prime Minister, seeing that the country experienced such a devastating hurricane, don't you think wisdom and good conscience should prompt you into giving the people a break? You're going to impose new taxes, the billions of dollars you're expected to take from the poor. Because remember, you know, una rich friend them know how to avoid tax. Them have the key. Them have the sauce. So they can avoid taxes. But the little man, the poor of this country, those who cannot do any better, those who are yet to see an increase in the minimum wage. Remember that grand announcement, labor rights, that you all jumped and shouted for? That grand announcement, the Prime Minister accepted his big increase, 28 million. And many of you are collecting minimum wage, barely enough to do anything for your family. Barely enough to make it through the week, because everything is going sky high. How blind can you be? Can I speak to the conscience? Can I speak to the conscience of some of these laborites, if they have any? How could you be so blatantly tone deaf, no level of understanding of the country to which you serve and you exist? The context, ladies and gentlemen, is that this country is a developing country. We are a third world country. And this administration is going around parading as if this country is on some strong financial footing. As if we are the best in the Caribbean when it comes to our economy. We're not. We're struggling. And all that we've been hearing, ladies and gentlemen, is promises after promises after promises. Promises after promises after promises. Away with your promises, JLP administration. Away with your promises, Mr. Holness. Where are the deliverables? When will the people truly be liberated from poverty, crime? Even the babies aren't safe. The babies are not safe, ladies and gentlemen. 5-year-old drowning in, because guess what? This government have terrible roads, a terrible drainage system. The people now have to be worrying once you drive. I was on the road today, and somebody said, on these Jamaican roads, when you get a license, you're basically giving yourself, you're putting up yourself, ladies and gentlemen, to be antagonized by some of these police officers. Mind you, you do have some good police officers. But nowadays, ladies and gentlemen, it's as if anything you do on the road, you can get a ticket. They don't want to tell you. But the police forces, they have a quota that they must meet. And remember that everybody's trying to scrape now. Everybody's trying to scrape now. So when you're driving on the road, $10,000 ticket, $6,000 ticket, and when you ask for what, they can't even tell you a story, ladies and gentlemen. The people are being oppressed in this country, and that is the truth. The people are being oppressed in this country, and that is the truth. Everywhere you turn, Makajukyo. Everywhere you turn in Jamaica today, you buck up in a Maka. That's the truth. And when I hear these labor rights talk,
fully done.
I wonder where it is that they got their education. Where, if they're looking at what is happening in our country, if they're so blind, are they watching the same news when me and you watch, ladies and gentlemen? Sometimes I wonder what it is that is their source of inspiration. For these people, it's only JLP bloggers they listen to. It's only JLP bloggers them listen to. So they are fed propaganda and lies and rhetorics that will make the JLP administration look good. But when you check it, ladies and gentlemen, there is no prosperity, nothing to show. In Tufton's constituency, many people are complaining about lack of water for weeks. The road that they fix what day, ladies and gentlemen, just the other day, well, fix is relative. Because I don't call patching roads fixing. You don't patch a road and call it a fixed road. As soon as little rain fall, the entire road start lift up. As soon as little rain fall, ladies and gentlemen, the entire road lift up. People front end and look out left, right and center. The people are spending unnecessarily in an economy that is already harsh, with what is to come already, and people now have to be turning around and wasting money on their vehicles because of the unnecessary potholes that people have to be dropping into. There is a congestion at the ports. To date, many people have not received any aid. Their friends and their families and organizations overseas, they sent aid to the ports. And to date, some people are yet to receive anything. Now I'm asking you, ladies and gentlemen, where is the prosperity under the Andrew Holness-led administration? Somebody said they don't have water in their area for 5 days now. This is what prosperity look like? The labor rights, Jamaicans? Is this the prosperity that you speak of? You can travel the world, Mr. Prime Minister, conference to conference, meeting to meeting, shake as many hands as you will. But if your people don't even have access to clean running water, you have already failed. Because in 2026, on the 3rd day of March 2026, people should not be sitting down in their houses, in their proper houses, without water for 5 days. For 5 days without clean running water? How is that healthy? How is that prosperous? But if you check out these politicians and their houses and their water system, they don't lack water. They have enough water to feed a community, ladies and gentlemen, because many of them, they are hooked up directly to the source. A lot of our Jamaican politicians, they don't have these issues. You don't hear politician block road. Hey, my God. You don't hear politicians blocking any road. Them family all right. Them family good. But what about those in our country that are hoping for a change? What about those who are worried about their future? Those in the West. Recently we had a Sagicor Sigma run and thousands of Jamaicans went to walk for a change. I support fundraising initiatives. I have no problem with people coming together to unite for a cause. I have no problem with Jamaicans putting their resources together. But priority is very important. And we cannot march for one thing and don't march against other things. Bright little stars, where are the container houses? I'm asking myself that question too. Where is the aid? Where is the relief? You cannot, ladies and gentlemen, disregard these very important matters. When will the country march against the corruption that is blatant? Am I to believe that every Jamaican we've accepted corruption as a part of our culture and we can't get rid of it? That's the way to go. When will Jamaica come together and march against the blatant corruption and disregarding procurement procedures, disregarding the poor? When will we see it? Well, our comrade leader recently, ladies and gentlemen, did the very honorable thing of explaining, civics in a very simple way. And I wanted to share that with you because unlike the Prime Minister, I believe Mr. Golding is looking at the very serious issues. It's very important to educate the country as to how governance works. It's very important. And with the budget presentations coming up, it is very important for us to understand how these things operate. I'm hoping that the laborites here can listen and learn something.
Greetings. Today I want to talk a bit about the structure of the Jamaican state, how it works, how government works. Now, the basic document that governs all of this is called the Constitution. It's a document that came into existence in 1962 or thereabouts. And it sets out the structure of our government. And we have what's called a tripartite structure, where you have the legislature, which is Parliament. In our case, Gordon House is a physical structure on Duke Street, which has two chambers. The upper house, which is the Senate, which is 21 senators, 13 appointed by the Prime Minister, 8 by the leader of the opposition, and that never changes. And then you have the House of Representatives, 63 seats. And of course, the decision as to who occupies those seats is made by the people when they vote in general elections. And the government of the day, by definition, has a majority of the seats in the House. And the opposition, by definition, has the minority in the House. Sometimes that majority is big, as it was in 2020's Parliament. Sometimes it's quite small, as it is now, since the 2025 election. Now, the executive is the second branch I want to discuss, which is the cabinet that heads it, comprised of the ministers appointed by the Prime Minister to sit in the cabinet. The cabinet is the decision maker on policy, and underneath the cabinet sits the entire structure of the civil service, the public bodies, and day-to-day decisions and the management of the affairs of the country sit under that structure, which is the executive structure. The opposition is not part of that structure. We have no say in those decisions and the management of the country by the executive branch. Notionally, the head of state, which in our case is still the monarch in England, is the notional head of state, but the cabinet is the entity that decides the policy of the country and how money is spent and so on once it's approved by Parliament in the annual budget. The legislature is the one that passes laws, including the annual budget, which is itself a law called the Appropriation Act. The third branch is the judiciary, which is a court system. In Jamaica, there's several levels to that. There's the lay magistrates at the base of the system, dealing with relatively minor cases. Then there's the parish courts, which are the bulk of the cases in the country are dealt with at the parish court level. Then you have the Supreme Court, which itself has 3 levels. The first instance judges, who typically hear cases on their own. Sometimes they will sit in a group of 3. Then there's the Court of Appeal, which sits above them and hears appeals from their decisions. And then finally, there's the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council, which sits in London, which is something that was established after the abolition of slavery and still remains our highest court. And that's somewhat controversial matter in Jamaica, as you know. So the people are the most important aspect of all of this, because ultimately it is the people who decide who sits in the parliament, in the House of Representatives, and everything flows from that. Because that then determines who is the prime minister, because the prime minister is the leader of the majority in the parliament. Who is the leader of the opposition? That's the person who is the leader of the minority in the parliament. They then appoint the senators. The prime minister appoints the ministers who form the cabinet and so on. So the people have a tremendous say in this. And that's why it's so important for people to show an interest and educate themselves about public affairs and what's happening in the country, because you can advocate for change. You can put pressure on your member of parliament or on other organizations that have influence. If you see something not being done that you think ought to be done, or something that's happening that you think should change or stop. So your power is real, and although it's only exercised in the form of a vote, typically once every 4 or 5 years, and that's a very important moment, of course, because that forms everything for the next period of 4 or 5 years after that election. But in between, you can also influence what happens in Parliament, because the elected representatives are mindful of what their citizens are saying, because ultimately they're accountable to their citizens the next time the country goes to the polls. So you don't underestimate the power of your voice and of your advocacy and of your interest in the affairs of the country. Pressure is real in a democracy, and any government and any opposition has to be mindful and adjust its positions based on the mood and feeling of the people that we represent. So I hope you found this little discussion useful, and of course it's just a summary, but I think it's important that people understand the basic structure of how our system works. One love.
Well, you heard it from Mr. Marky G, the integrity boss, breaking down in a very simple way how governance work in this country, and why it is important for us to have the knowledge. Because when we advocate, and this is what I've been asking for too, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I would like to see coming from the People's National Party. Even more, because we've been seeing it in parts. But I want the supporters to be far more informed than Labourites. It's very important for me personally. Because when Labourites talk, you can see that they have no knowledge of governance. They don't believe in holding their leaders accountable. They don't believe in democracy in its truest form. They don't believe that the opposition should have a place to advocate and speak up and speak out. You hear it from the Labourites. They try to shut down the opposition, but that's learned behavior, you know. It's learned behavior, because it is coming from their own leaders in the Jamaica Labour Party. They were the ones who disregarded the opposition and their voice. So the followers of the Jamaica Labour Party, they come and do the very same thing. Now I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, if we don't have basic understanding, I'm not saying you should be a guru, right? I'm not saying you have to go to university and get a degree in politics. I did that. But all you need is just basic understanding as to how governance work. And if you understand how governance work in its simplest form, ladies and gentlemen, you see why I have to talk the way I talk. Because the Prime Minister is running this country as if he's in a dictatorship, as if he's the supreme leader of Iran. Well, I hope them see what happened to the supreme leader of Iran. We exist in a democracy, and in a democracy we should have the liberty to ask questions, demand transparency, hold our leaders accountable, make recommendations. That is a healthy democracy. Don't try to silence people on social media. Democracy and social media goes hand in hand. So when you see the people them go on social media and go on TikTok and make them videos, don't try to shut them down. Let the people come out and speak up. A lot of the women were furious when the Prime Minister made statements about people, women leaving the diaspora and coming back home to tackle boy, I tell you, to tackle the birth rate. Can you imagine? If it wasn't for social media, you'd think that everybody was okay with what the Prime Minister said. Thank God for social media. Thank God that we are able to have a place where we can express ourselves, because not everybody will be in the rooms to have certain conversations. But when we have social media, ladies and gentlemen, give the people an opportunity to speak up. We've seen this Prime Minister say he's gonna make war and wage war against disinformation and all of these things. But when you check it out, ladies and gentlemen, all that they're trying to do is to silence the people from making their voices heard. And Laborites don't like when we make them administration look bad. But the reality is, ladies and gentlemen, I don't see anything to write home about. I see nothing to write home about. Today, there was a protest. There was a protest, ladies and gentlemen. Justice for Melissa. I'm going to open up the phone lines very soon because I want to hear from you what you think about the protest. I'm getting mixed reactions on social media. Some persons are saying that the protest should have been much bigger because what happened to Melissa was disgraceful. Others are saying that it is a waste of time. But let me know what you think in the comments. The reality is, ladies and gentlemen, you know me, this is not a political matter for me, you know. I think Jamaica has become sedated on many things. And this is not just about even this issue. What I'm going to say is this. Even ask what kind of protest is that? Ladies and gentlemen, Jamaica has become sedated on many matters. On many matters. What happened to Melissa Silveira was unfortunate. It is sad. It is sad what took place. And if you're wrong, you must face prison time. I don't care whose campaign you are jumping on. I don't care what political party you represent. If you do wrong, if you break the law, you must be held accountable.
Cause one by one who no go into jail, one by who no go into, one by
Ladies and gentlemen, this didn't look good today. This didn't look good at all. So I'm trying to understand something, ladies and gentlemen. What are your views on this matter here? Donna Blessings, what are your views on this? It is a shame, man. What happened to the woman was very sad. I looked at the reports and it is awful, ladies and gentlemen. It is sad. But under this administration, ladies and gentlemen, we've seen the Andrew Holness government. They have disregarded a lot of the rules and the regulations in this country, setting a very dangerous precedent for even our young people. A lot of young people now, they don't have a problem with corruption, That's why all of them scamming. That's why all of them scamming now. That's why all of them scamming and doing all sort of things. Because the precedent was already set. They see the choppers in government today doing what they want to do with people's money. No regard for right. And our young people are following suit. And I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, if the head of the stream continues to operate in this way, to date, I have not seen the Prime Minister come out and even apologize for what was said last year. The way in which he responded to genuine concerns of the citizens. Many who believed that the relief efforts of the government was slow. People came out genuinely concerned. What did the Prime Minister and the Jamaica Labour Party did? They disregarded the cries of the people and to make it a political conversation. As soon as you bring to them the very serious issues that is found within their administration, they talk about FinSac, they talk about Portia Simpson Miller, they talk about Michael Manley, ignoring the realities that we are facing today. So I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, with a government that doesn't care about corruption, you expected a big turnout today. You expected thousands of Jamaicans to go out and say, justice for Melissa. If we can't even get Jamaicans to rally together, to rally together and say, listen man, too much corruption in this country. What has Minister Tufton accomplished? Where are the Jamaicans to come out and march against those things? If the country, ladies and gentlemen, is unable to come out, they never expect. And I was hearing something about Bobby. Let me take some calls, because I've been hearing some things, Ladies and gentlemen, it is alleged that this protest was organized by the Jamaica Labour Party. I got some information, but I'm not going, I can't just, I'm very careful when it comes to certain things, But I heard, ladies and gentlemen, that it is alleged that the protest was a political move by the Jamaica Labour Party. I have receipts. I will not show them, but I have records, ladies and gentlemen, that was sent to my phone, that this thing was an attempt to destroy the Silvera name once and for all. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, man. I get them recorded, but I operate very differently. I get them and I said, wow. Did the people saw through this so-called protest and they finally saw that there was something very dangerous happening behind it? Listen, the people are not idiots. The people are not idiots. I said this, that the Jamaica Labour Party, they have lost political relevance. But a lot of people, ladies and gentlemen, don't believe me when I talk. Don't allow the PR stunts of the JLP to prevent you from understanding what is taking place. Don't allow the PR stunts of the JLP to confuse you into believing that they're relevant. They've lost a lot of political capital. After the September 3rd election, I have seen the downfall of the JLP time and time again. They have no reputation. They have no accomplishments, nothing to show. Nothing to convince the people of Jamaica that they are the government that is to lead this country forward. I believe wholeheartedly that on September 3rd, something went terribly wrong. When Minister Vaz procured the buses in a very questionable way, when he spent $1.4 billion wasted, and the opposition cautioned them against it. The unintelligent laborites, some of the stupid laborites, said that the PNP were bad mind them of bus system, when it is PNP who came up with the JUTC under the same PJ Patterson that a lot of these unlearned laborites try to demonize. What is there to envy? There's nothing to envy of the JLP. I don't know about other comrades, but I could never envy a political party that was built upon blood, corruption. How could I envy a political party that was built upon grudge? They went and made a political party because they envied the PNP from day one. You see, some of these laborers, they don't even know their history. Go and check and ask yourself the question: how did the labor right movement came about? The People's National Party was the first political party in Jamaica. It was the JLP who envied that and run go start up something. So when you say PNP bad mind, what it is that you're really referring to? Are we bad mind in the same failed rural bus system? Was on the road today and the taxi operators are saying the children can't take the yellow bus them, Perry. 1938 PNP started, first political party in Jamaica. What is there to bad mind when everything that the PNP do, uno go copy? So I'm trying to understand before me even answer them here. What is it to envy, ladies and gentlemen? When the Jamaica Labour Party, they have been at the wheel 6 times. They've produced 6 prime ministers. They've been in the office of the prime minister more than the PNP. And to date, we've not seen anything substantial from none of these administrations. It is the PNP that has built Jamaica with all the institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, that is still impacting your children today. Many of you benefited, both laborites and PNP benefited from the vision of the People's National Party. Many. It's not like today when you see the laborites distributing aid in our parties and way. It's not like during the Hurricane Melissa relief season when the opposition MPs they have to be complaining because the government was distributing aid in a very partisan way. If you're not a labor writer, can't get anything. So what is there to badmine the JLP over? I cannot envy carelessness and reactive governance, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot envy people who will blatantly lie. I cannot envy an administration. I cannot envy an administration that will impose new taxes on a set of people who are vulnerable, the poor, unable to fend for themselves. They are yet to see what a government aid looks like. Where are the container houses? What is it that the government is doing to help these people to get back on their feet?
In terms of the taxing, well, we have to see what they're going to propose. You know, the economy is in a slump because of the hurricane, and additional taxation is typically something that promotes, you know, a further slump in the sense that it depresses demand and so on. So, you know, we would have to see very clear, scrutinize what specific taxes they're coming with. We recognize the challenges that they face, but, you know, we have to see exactly what the details are with that. I'm hoping that we will know that this afternoon, because the Independent Fiscal Commissioner has made it very clear that the budget documents should include the revenue measures when tabled, not at the end of the budget process as has been traditionally the way. And I'm hoping, since the government has already indicated that they will be imposing new taxes, that we will know the details of what those are this afternoon.
Central to the throne speech today was the government's praise, essentially, of the response to Hurricane Melissa. Do you see it differently?
Yeah, I see it very differently. I think the response has actually been very slow, especially in relation to housing relief, which is a critical item. You know, many people are suffering, you know, without shelter as we speak. And the relief that has been put in place, in quotes, so far has been done in a way that's very bureaucratic. I'm talking about the MP-driven relief, the $10 million per constituency in the badly affected areas, much smaller sums in other areas, but it's been very difficult to access that, and many of the MPs have not been able to do it. So people are really feeling it now, and there's a lot of self-congratulation and backslapping going on amongst the government, but the proof of the pudding is in the eating and what people are actually feeling on the ground in the most affected areas. And, you know, suffering is real, and people are still without water, people are still without electricity. And so, you know, I can't say that I'm happy with the progress. I know it's a very difficult situation. But what about NARA? You know, it's established in quotes, but it has no legal authority or power. Why has legislation not been brought to Parliament to enact NARA? If this, you know, this is a major existential issue of our time, this hurricane that hit us. And the construct that the government has put in place, or says it's putting in place to deal with it, hasn't even got off the ground yet. So I don't rate that at all.
I have to ask Mr. Golding, will this be your last throne speech as opposition leader?
Ladies and gentlemen, would a caring government do all of these things? I hear a lot of persons, you know, very excited about the oil explorations happening in our waters. Well, the United Oil and Gas completes seabed survey offshore in Jamaica. Now I'm wondering, ladies and gentlemen, if it is that the substance that they've detected there can be sold, who will benefit from these things? Who will benefit? You know, with this administration, their reputation isn't one, ladies and gentlemen, to write home about. Will the labor rights strike again? Remember that there was the Petrojam scandal, you know. Big scandal, and nothing came out of it. A man just take a break from politics for a couple of years and come back and get promotion. Because I saw the thing go, ladies and gentlemen. When you do wrong and you are affiliated with the right people, when you're affiliated with the right persons, you don't have to worry. You will be protected. You will be protected. You don't have to worry. So though a lot of Jamaicans are excited about whether or not we may find oil, things of that nature, ask yourself the question, under a type of administration that has proven to be very selfish, there's nothing for the poor to benefit from. All that they're talking about, the economy and prosperity and all of these things, is the common man feeling it? And for me, ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to preach prosperity and if you're going to preach growth of the economy, if you're going to preach these things, ladies and gentlemen, then the people should be feeling it. If the quote-unquote little man not feeling it, that's not a growing economy for me. That's not prosperity for me. If it is only rich can get richer. If it is only a set of people and a class of people, people with certain last names can benefit, then that's not prosperity. That's elitism. So with the survey completed, right, with all of that done, ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited to hear what the results will be. But at the same time, on the other hand, I am very concerned because we don't have enough trust in this government, ladies and gentlemen, to ensure that whatever benefits will come from this exploration, or should it be that this substance is able to go on the market for sale, will Jamaica benefit, or will we see history repeating itself? Because everybody is just going into the government to raid it. Everybody is just going into the government to take the people their money and run off with it. Wheatley comes back and get promoted to a higher position. Tottenham and Paulette Scott is what the Labourites don't want to talk about. So although the survey is completed, ladies and gentlemen, I am not excited about finding sellable oil under this administration. No, I'm not. I wouldn't be surprised if Ruel Reid case should really choke, and in the next election, when the next government's supposed to form, you hear say Ruel Reid get bigger position. I wouldn't be surprised. Because when you're loyal to these people, ladies and gentlemen, when you are loyal to these people, it seems as if anything can go on and nothing comes out of it. Can you imagine people politicizing something that was as serious as this? Labor rights, it is alleged that labor rights tried to make this a political matter, and that they have been doing for some time. They've been politicizing the entire thing, trying to make this a PNP issue when it is really not. So they try to deflect and you see, they are doing exactly what the Trump administration is doing. You realize how the Trump administration operates? They do everything to distract the people from real issues and other concerns. For example, the Epstein files. I am hearing that there are a number of world leaders across this planet in many different top organizations, top businesses, in different political positions. Many of them are being mentioned in the Epstein files. And what they are doing, ladies and gentlemen, is to create a distraction that we've never seen before. So the war on Iran collaborated with the You understand what I'm saying? Could it be, ladies and gentlemen, that this is just to deflect from some more pressing matters? And is it that the Jamaica Labour Party has adopted that strategy to create distractions from some of the things that really and truly have an impact on each and every one of us as Jamaicans, especially those living out here in Jamaica? So we saw a protest that was allegedly designed to create a distraction from the incompetence of the administration. They don't want us to talk about the truth, ladies and gentlemen. They don't want us to highlight the issues in this country. Because again, the script is that the Andrew Holness-led administration is the best thing since sliced bread. And the Prime Minister is going all over the world and convincing people that everything is okay in Jamaica land we love. While people are suffering, ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister is painting a picture that all is well. It is the worst I have seen governance in Jamaica. Surely we've had better JLP Prime Ministers. I believe Bruce Golding was a good Prime Minister, had his flaws, but he's definitely better than this one. This is the worst administration I've seen. So the Prime Minister is going about, ladies and gentlemen, and grandstanding.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness recently extended appreciation to CARICOM for what he describes as an unwavering support after the passage of Hurricane Melissa, one of the most powerful hurricanes to hit Jamaica. In October of 2025, Hurricane Melissa devastated parts of the island, to which countries around the world responded. Now, the Prime Minister, during his address to CARICOM, registered his heartfelt thanks for the people who have fought through tough times in a bid to rise again but stronger. Here are the sentiments expressed by the outgoing CARICOM chairman, who also made full use of the opportunity to say thanks again.
Outgoing chair of CARICOM Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness, while speaking to Caribbean leaders and diplomats, took the time out to give testimony of how the country managed during and after the 2025 catastrophic Hurricane Melissa. A visitor not welcomed to the shores of Jamaica, but nevertheless the impact is still being felt months after.
This was the strongest hurricane that the earth could produce, hit Jamaica. And as bad as it was, though, right? You know, God is always looking out for us, because that's the only thing I could say. If not giving us more than we can bear. So he must know what our capacity is.
Our Prime Minister all too happy and proud to speak of the resilience of the Jamaican spirit, as well as the relief efforts and the government's response for its people. Heartwarming, though, the spoken words of many Jamaicans who understood things could have been far worse.
One young lady who I met in Westmoreland, a video that went viral, she said, "You see my house gone, you see my neighbor, her house gone, my shop gone, but we have life. And we give God thanks for life. We can start again, we can build again."
According to the Prime Minister, the government put on an effective relief effort with focus on humanitarian support and aid from those who could not get the basic necessities of life. The limitations soon exposed, allowing for appreciation to again be deposited.
The JDF was very helpful, but we didn't have enough airlift. Thankfully, the Americans came in and we were able to get heavy lift from them. And other private persons took in their aircrafts as well, and that was very helpful. Many countries came to our aid immediately, including many CARICOM countries. I would say, Minister, I don't want to name and then I leave out any, but almost all CARICOM countries contributed in some way.
Commendation, though, particularly for Guyana, Barbados, and the many others gifting cash or kind, time and labor, building materials, containers, and those that were filled with food and also field materials for critical care.
Gratitude is a must.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister is going around and painting this image as if all is well, when again catastrophe is striking in the medical space. Look at the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Again, what we are seeing, ladies and gentlemen, is an incompetent minister who has made the entire ministry unable to deliver what is needed, what is necessary to give support to the people of this country. At 10,000 foot, while the Prime Minister is going around and talking, it's all talking, talk is cheap. But a 10,000 foot medical dome, which was slated to be installed on the grounds of the Cornwall Regional Hospital in Montego Bay, St. James last month, creating space for approximately 100 additional beds, has still not been installed, though the base is ready for use. So my question is this, ladies and gentlemen: when will we be ready? When will the Cornwall Regional Hospital get what is needed so that we can properly serve the people of this country where health and wellness is concerned? Ricardo, this is the same minister who got a national award. Time and time again, we see incompetence. Laborites don't want to talk about this. Laborites who are over here, because we don't love over here, you know. Why is it that the Cornwall Regional Hospital is yet to get the medical dome? The base is ready for use. Things can get moving. The people are ready and waiting. We would certainly appreciate the 100 beds. Why is it that there's a hold up where this is? Shouldn't this be a matter of priority? Shouldn't this be a matter of priority? Shouldn't we try to get health at a certain place in this country where people can be comfortable in raising families and living? Don't deflect, Laborites. I know you are not as well thinking, but at least I'm trying to appeal to your common sense if you have any. Why is it that the medical dome is not here, but the base is ready for use? Where are the 100 additional beds? Remember, you know, there's a lack of beds in this country. Where are the rest of the beds? Come on, talking about the best government. This is the worst health has been in this country, and I will continue to ask for the resignation of Mr. Tufton. I will continue to ask for the resignation, because there's nothing for us to look and say, yes, strides are being made. There's nothing for me to say, yes, they care about the country. There's nothing to show. This must be a priority, ladies and gentlemen. But we see articles left, right, and center. We see articles left, right, and center. A lot of talking, be a mouth talk. No deliverables. Mr. Tufton must resign. I don't care what anybody wants to tell me. He's an atrocious MP. And it is under his watch, ladies and gentlemen. We've seen a deterioration of the health ministry like never before. Too many excuses. There's always an excuse from this administration. They call Melissa name go, they call Melissa name come. What is the excuse now? The base is ready to be used. What's the hold up? And nobody's asking for this man to step down. Again, Jamaica can gather in their thousands. I'm not against the Sagicor Sigma run. I'm not against a good cause. But I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, these matters are very important. Where is the public cry against how terrible health and wellness has become in this country? Where is the great concern about the state of our health in this nation? Why is it that some of these politicians are so comfortable taking millions of dollars per month, millions of dollars per month, and they are not doing their jobs? How is it that our politicians become so comfortable sitting on taxpayers' dollars, sitting on our money, enriching themselves, and everybody is comfortable? When will the Cornwall Regional Hospital experience any real change and any improvement? There's nothing for us to show. There's absolutely nothing for us to show where health and wellness is concerned. Where is the health and where is the wellness? Every day you hear about mental issues in this country. Every day somebody is losing their minds. You know why? Because times are hard. Times are hard. The people are worried. The children are hungry. They don't know where the next meal is coming from. The minimum wage can't cover the expenses. Transportation cost high. The cost of living just to exist in this country is hard. People have to be migrating every chance they get. People willing to jump border. People willing to take ship and run from this country, because under this administration, ladies and gentlemen, there is no care, there is no zeal, there is no desire to improve the lives of our Jamaicans. There is no desire to improve the lives of our Jamaicans. So don't tell me about care in government. Don't tell me about care. You laborites, you have no ambition. It's a lack of ambition and pride. Why many of you continue to flock behind this political organization when they have done nothing for you? Tell me how you have benefited from the Jamaica Labour Party. Tell me what policy has this administration implement that you are benefiting from today. All of you are benefiting from the policies of the People's National Party. Every single one of you, your children, you're benefiting from what the PNP has instituted. Look at the Cornwall Regional Hospital. But you come and make article after article. The minister was touring the country unnecessarily, campaigning. I hear that the minister wants to vie for the presidency of the JLP. I'm hearing that because of his ambitions, ladies and gentlemen. He has been trying to make himself look very suitable to possibly be the next president of the Jamaica Labour Party. And by extension, probably the Prime Minister of Jamaica. That's a joke. I'm laughing. That's a shame and a disgrace. Mr. Tufton, you will have no chance of becoming party leader. Well, anything happens in the Jamaica Labour Party, you know. But I can tell you this, your track record as health minister is atrocious. The people are perishing. The people are, but God is going to shake this country, you see.
The minister said, we are having an earthquake. Oh God.
That's an earthquake?
God is going to shake this country. God is going to shake this administration. There is absolutely no ambition, Ricardo. Tell them again. You know, I'm in a back and forth with labor rights. But you know I'm not going to block them just the same. Tell them in the chat, you don't have no ambition. Laborites have no ambition. How could you have ambition? How could you want better for yourself? And when you look around you, you see the many woes, flip-flopping government. Today, the Prime Minister is silent on what is happening in Cuba. And the one time him open up his mouth, them could have crucified him. God Almighty. Mr. Prime Minister, don't take any boost up again. I apologize. Because I remember I was pressuring you to go out and say something. But well, you don't have the diplomatic grace, Mr. Prime Minister. The congressman would skin you alive on Twitter. Don't make a fool of yourself again, Mr. Prime Minister. Please, don't. Please.
Fully done.
No ambition coming from the Jamaica Labour Party. None. They rather, let me tell you what the Laborites appreciate. And that's the reason why, you know, they don't like the PNP. I'm going to tell you why Laborites don't like PNP. Laborites don't like PNP because the PNP supporters were cultured. Good night, Gloria. The PNP supporters were cultured to get an education, to stand on their own feet, and to make a living for themselves. On the other hand, the Laborites were cultured to live off politicians. We see it in many of the garrisons. We see it in West Kingston. They have cultured many of the Laborites to sit by and depend on handouts from the Jamaica Labour Party executive. That is what they created. The following. Let's check the following. Check the Laborites who follow up the Jamaica Labour Party. That is what they like. They like when they can get the handout and they can get a $5,000 and they can get a KFC. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not telling any lie now. I know I tend to offend Laborites and they don't like, because when I talk I don't need to shout. But my words are piercing. This is the truth. And Laborites know that. And that's the reason why PNP supporters, they tend to sound much more intelligent. Well, let me speak for those who have been seen on social media. The ones that have been coming out to question the government. Check how the PNP supporters, the well-thinking Jamaicans, the PNP supporters, look at how they've been operating on social. You see, we don't do the bagger and the bagger. Listen, that's not me at least. That's not how we do it over here. And when you look at it, ladies and gentlemen, $5,000 and a box food. $5,000 and a box food. And that is how you get them vote. But because the People's National Party is willing to sit you down and go through manifesto. Remember that the JLP never have no manifesto last year, no? That manifesto wasn't manifesting anything but garbage. I read through it. Terrible. Terrible. The Book of Achievements, mediocre. Nothing to write home about. The Prime Minister of Jamaica walked the streets of Half a Tree like an evangelist. He was out there handing out pamphlets. Mr. Prime Minister, I wonder if you probably should really give your life to the Lord, you know, and go into evangelism, because the Prime Minister was out last year handing out pamphlet after pamphlet. Can you imagine if the pamphlet was saying John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only, the many souls that the Prime Minister would have won on that day. The Prime Minister went in the streets of Jamaica handing out pamphlets to talk about the accomplishments of the Jamaica Labour Party. And in doing so, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people were wondering, we've never seen this of the Prime Minister before. Desperate times call for desperate measures. The Jamaica Labour Party know, ladies and gentlemen, that they cannot beat the People's National Party unless they do some very outrageous act. Where is that same passion, Mr. Prime Minister? I am assuming that you have a conscience. To the Labourites, where is that tenacity? Or it's only when campaign time come around? It's only when election season come around we can expect the Prime Minister, like Jehovah Witness Joy Bells 9428. It was like Jehovah Witness. The man was in the streets. Where is that same energy today? Thousands of Jamaicans are still in the West. Thousands of Jamaicans are still suffering. And Labourites are too blind to recognize that the only thing that matters to the Jamaica Labour Party and this administration is your vote. They don't care about your livelihoods. They don't care about you bouncing back, getting on your feet. They don't care about that. Once you eat the KFC, somehow they not even did belch or they not eat it. When you're hungry, I saw the trucks. I see KFC giving out left, right and center. Somehow they never belch. Because some of the fried chicken, them fry them in the same oil over and over. And you all ate the fried chicken and you collect no little money. I want to say 1 p.m. I don't say. But look at what Jamaica is today. Look at Jamaica today. Look at our country today. Can you imagine? You give up your entire future. You've jeopardized your entire future, the future of your children, the future of your family members, the future of this country. For fry, filico chicken and chips, and 2 packets of ketchup. Can you imagine? Was it that easy? Tells me that the Labourites, they're not looking because, listen, many of them didn't even read the manifesto of the Jamaica Labour Party last year. It wasn't an easy read either. They bombarded the thing with so many words. I know a lot of Labourites didn't read through not one of them. As a matter of fact, no media house was covering the manifesto of the Jamaica Labour Party last year. Not even those who are affiliated with the JLP was promoting or sharing the manifesto of the JLP. So I know, Ashani Marcus, it wasn't the manifesto that caused Labourites to vote JLP. It wasn't that. It was the KFC and any money them get. As a matter of fact, Gloria Swaby, Cliff Hughes commended the People's National. Oh, God Almighty. It was quite the opposite. I remember vividly when Cliff Hughes commended the PNP for the comprehensive manifesto. The Labour Right manifesto was atrocious. So it wasn't because of no plans. A KFC, ladies and gentlemen. KFC, God Almighty.
Please, Mr. Knight, please.
I'm suggesting that you are pathologically mendacious.
Mr. Knight, that is an improper suggestion.
Why?
And an improper...
After
yes.
he just said what he just said?
Yes.
It's pathological.
Mr. Knight, please continue your cross-examination if you so intend to.
He was referring to what you said, a ruling you made.
And he laughed at you.
And laughed. You have a pathological condition when it comes to telling the truth. And I'm suggesting to you that you have misled, you have conspired, and you have deceived the Parliament, the people of this country, and the inquiry, this commission, the diaspora and every Jamaican, and that you, Prime Minister, should pack your bags and go.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Small. But Mr. Chairman, you need to put your foot down. Put my foot down or what? Adjourn it? Well, take charge.
This is what we need, ladies and gentlemen. We need some very bold politicians and some leaders in this country to call a spade a spade. These laborites don't even recognize that they have been tricked, they have been deceived. They've been deceived, ladies and gentlemen. It's a mockery of the Jamaican people. We need somebody to tell this Prime Minister and his entire administration to hit the road. I wonder who will be the one to tell these people to get up and leave. We've had enough, ladies and gentlemen. We've had enough. I am tired of it. I don't know about you. I don't know, but I am tired of it. I'm tired of it, ladies and gentlemen. You remember when the Jamaican medical students in Cuba plead for the government intervention while the United States was battering Cuba? I'm going to remind you, guys. I'm going to remind you of these conversations, because they must come up again, I will ensure of it. Our students were crying out. Come and talk about JLP. You're going to come and tell me about JLP. Our students were crying to the government to intervene, do something. And at the time, ladies and gentlemen, the administration was so silent. Not a word. Certainly not in English. Nothing from the Jamaica Labour Party. Nothing. Tanisha, they can talk about performance foolishness. Remember, at this point in time, a lot of them, they cannot be helped. The Bible tells us that a lot of them, they have been given strong delusion that they believe a lie. What performance? What performance? This for your government to turn your back on your own people who are being cut off from oil supplies, jeopardizing the mobility of ambulances and other emergency vehicles. That is how you perform, by ignoring the cries of Jamaican students. That is the performance you speak of? Or we're talking about the many scandals over the 10 years? What is it that we should talk about? What performance? It is a disgrace and it's a shame that you people could really look and talk about performance. What? Where is the performance? The only thing that you've performed for us, laborites, is acts of skullduggery, corruption, procurement breach after procurement breach, arrogance, pride, lack of accountability and transparency. Yeah, man, I know you don't like me when I beat you, That's the only performance that we've seen. There's absolutely nothing more to show. There's absolutely nothing more to show. So tell me what performance you speak of. You should be ashamed of yourself. And some of these laborites, ladies and gentlemen, they too are suffering. They are acting as if comrades are the only ones that will be facing the hardships. They will all have to pay the taxes too. I've never seen Jamaica or Jamaican supporters be happy for tax. I've never seen it before. For the life of me, I'm shocked that laborites were rejoicing that they were being taxed. I've never seen this in all my life. Can you be so blind? Can you be so blind? can you be so blind? Many of you don't even have $1 to cover these taxes. A lot of you, the same items that will be taxed. A lot of you feed on them day and night. Listen to me. Thank the Lord I come from a family. Listen, I'm not from the richest background, but my family is okay. I have a source of income. I don't have to live on sodas like others. But many of you laborites, you have no choice. If my family is serious about about living a healthy lifestyle, we can commit to that. If we put our resources together, we can eat certain things and avoid certain things. How many of you laborites can say that? How many of you are earning? How many of you come from a place where you can be supported to live that type of lifestyle? Not many of you. So you're jumping up and down and you're happy that the poor and the vulnerable will be taxed when many of you won't be able to afford it. And it will not have to eat and drink. And what is happening in the Middle East is going to make it 100 times worse. Just in, ladies and gentlemen, 2 in custody. 2 are in custody over the Denham town gun attack that left the father and the son dead. No laborites don't tell me about don't talk like that. Don't tell me laborites that are not supposed to talk like that. It's the truth. If you're offended, you're offended. Don't tell me to not talk like that. It's the truth. Don't tell me to not talk like that. What am I saying that's wrong? 2 in custody over Denham town gun attack that left father and son dead. Somebody just sent me $50 to my Zelle, and let me use this opportunity to encourage my supporters. If you want to reach out to me, you can call me or message me at 5628302. Thank you to one of my supporters who just sent me $50. If you want my Zelle, if you want my Cash App, you can reach out to me at 5628302, 1-876-562-8302. You can get the Zelle information, you can get the Cash App, right? And you can get the Western Union information and even my local bank account info, so you can continue to support the movement. But just in, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to report that 2 are in custody over the Denham town gun attack that left father and son dead. Well done to the JCF and to all those who were involved in this operation, right? Somebody else is asking me for my banking info now. Again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Good job to the JCF. You see, I give credit where credit is due, you know. You think I'm gonna come here and be unreasonable? If the JCF is doing a good job, I'll tell them good job. But the reality is, ladies and gentlemen, that even in the good, you have very terrible officers. You still have those, ladies and gentlemen, who will continue to kill the innocent. But I am happy to report, based on the information that I'm seeing here, and it is now circulating on social media, that 2 are in custody. It was such an unfortunate, very unfortunate situation. The little boy gone. The father gave in to his injuries. Unfortunate. But look at another contribution. Thank you. I wonder if you guys don't want me to call your names. No, I wouldn't do that. Thank you to another supporter, $30 to the Zelle. Ladies and gentlemen, continue to support. The super chat is coming. As a matter of fact, I should have checked if the super chat was ready. But don't worry, the super chat is coming as well. But look at Denham Town though. Look at the constituency that Mr. Mackenzie is the MP for. Look at Denham Town. They have intentionally caused the people to accept a life that is just unprogressive. It is distasteful. A lot of these people, ladies and gentlemen, they were born in these inner cities, and the MPs, they have done nothing. Mr. Mackenzie, what have you done for Denham Town? Really and truly. And I'm having a very serious conversation. What is it that the MP has done? For the many years, Denham Town, look at West Kingston. Crime and the violence, gang warfare, it has divided the people, bloodshed left, right, and center. No liberation. But you know, I blame the people too. I can beat Mr. Mackenzie, but I have to beat the people too. And one may say, but Perry, do they have a choice? The reality is, ladies and gentlemen, election come with consequence. Elections, they come with consequence. But people sit down. Yes, Bright Little Stars, I remember when the lady was saying that nobody can read, the man them can't read and write in the comments. Yes, I remember when she said there is no literacy, nobody in the constituency. It's as if the constituency is just a place to just cut. What? Can you imagine? I cannot be a Labourite, ladies and gentlemen. I want us to have a very sober conversation. I probably head out around 11. I'm not sure if anybody wants to call. You can call me on WhatsApp. I think the service is down for now. But ladies and gentlemen, what is it that you can point out? What is it that you can point out? Yes, and many of them, they are suffering in the silence. A lot of them, they cannot speak up, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, it's badness govern them place there, political badness, If they ever find out, say you're not supporting their party, hell and powder house for you. Hell and powder house for you. But ladies and gentlemen, every great revolution, every great rebellion, it came with some sacrifice. A revival is not for free. I'm going to say it. A revival is not for free. Government badness. Remember, it was under this administration we saw an embracing of the badness rhetoric among our children, and the fully done rhetoric and the scamming culture. Scamming was always in Jamaica, even from the 80s and the 90s. But it became extremely popular under this administration. I could never be a Labourite. It's as if the Labourites, they've become sedated and they stand for nothing.
Fully done.
How could I support a movement, ladies and gentlemen, that continues to look out for the pockets of the rich and powerful, but the poor and the vulnerable, they continue to suffer? Let us approach these conversations with levels of sobriety. Say what you want to say, Minister Tufton, with your PR stunts. Yes, man, we know you know how to market them. You know how to market. You can't market me, no. Remember me and Motley say it too. You can't market me, but you can market the Labour right supporters. Say what you want in your articles. Say what you want through Young Jamaica. Say what you want to say through G2K. Say what it is that you would want to say through Nationwide. But the proof of the pudding is in its eating. Say what you want to say But at the end of the day, we are looking at the results. And to date, ladies and gentlemen, there has been no clear-cut way forward for Jamaica since Melissa. There's no plan of action. I've not heard of one. I hear things over here, but there's no coordination. The government seems to be divided. Everybody's doing their own thing. And they continually leave out the opposition out of the deliberations. And there's no pudding, Donna Thompson. It is an empty pan. Because the pudding is in their pockets, and the pudding it is in their kitchen for them and them family. So what it is that the people are left with? The people are left with absolutely nothing. Say what you want to say, labor rights. You can say that I'm unreasonable. You can say that I'm unreasonable. Give me a reason to commend your administration, and I will. I'm not afraid to give commendations. JCF did a good job with the Denham Town situation. 2 are in custody. We await more information. Give me something good to talk about. Many of you, you've blinded your own eyes to the truth. And the truth is, under this administration, we've seen 1, normalization of corruption. We've seen a normalization of corruption. 2, we've seen a lack of accountability. Even when people call out the wrong with proof, there is still a lack of accountability. Nobody seems to know what is happening. There's a lack of transparency, especially from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. We've seen very concerning moments, infanticide, our children going missing. We've had some of the highest records of children going missing under this administration. Human trafficking. I wonder if some of the labor rights are trafficking our children. The devil is a liar. The NHT is being raided again. Being raided again. 11.4 billion per year. Donna said keep hope alive. I have to keep hope alive. But the reality is, ladies and gentlemen, that with a set of people in this country who are unwilling to unite on certain matters, I'm not against the Jamaica Labour Party supporters voting for their labor right leaders. You are free to support who you want to support. But my God, have some levels of objectivity. Dear and Harriet, blessings. Have some levels of objectivity, no? Have some levels of objectivity. Call a spade, no? We all have our biases. There are times when we will not say everything that is bad about PNP or say everything that is bad about JLP. But on certain matters, ladies, that the election gone long time. Why is it that JLP people are still campaigning? It is now time for you to hold your government accountable. Now is not the time to be biased and playing politics. Now is not the time for us to be doing that. Now is the time for you to hold your no labor right is holding their government accountable. Tell me one labor right is demanding better from the Andrew Holness-led administration. Not one of them. For these labor rights, Mr. Holness is a perfect man. That's what they will say. That he's a perfect man. That he runs a perfect government. That his administration is A-OK. No labor right is holding Mr. Holness accountable. And that's why when the opposition speaks up and speaks out, they think that we are over here playing politics. But we are not. We are not. Saw something very interesting from the RJR Gleaner group though. And they've announced temporary suspension of 2 radio stations. This is very interesting. Let's hear what is happening here.
Good evening and welcome to the Business Day. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Power 106 FM and Hits 92 FM are to be taken off air temporarily as part of a major restructuring within the RJR Gleaner Communications Group. The group has also received court approval for the restructuring. Prince Moore reports.
Radio Jamaica has formally requested temporary suspension of the broadcast licenses and assigned spectrum for both stations from the Broadcasting Commission of Jamaica and the Spectrum Management Authority. The company says the move will provide time and flexibility to address significant transmission and service challenges, including rehabilitation of radio infrastructure following the impact of Hurricane Melissa. During the suspension period, Radio Jamaica will focus on optimizing the transmission reach and service quality of its 2 primary stations, Radio Jamaica 94 FM and Fame 95 FM, while assessing the long-term future of Hits 92 FM and Power 106 FM, including the possibility of divestment. The announcement comes as the Supreme Court sanctioned a scheme of arrangement involving several subsidiaries within the group. The court approval granted on February 19, 2026 clears the way for Multimedia Jamaica, independent radio company, Gleaner Online, Reggae Entertainment Television, and Jamaica News Network to be amalgamated into Radio Jamaica. The restructuring forms part of a broader effort to streamline operations, eliminate duplication, and improve corporate efficiency across platforms. The applicable component of the scheme has also received favorable consideration from the Broadcasting Commission, which has indicated it will recommend the requested license amendment to the Minister of Information. Executive Chairman Joseph M. Matalon says the group intends to optimize synergies and create a leaner, more efficient organization. He adds that bold and decisive steps are required to guarantee the highest quality of service and that divestment remains an option if the business assessment supports it.
Seprod has announced the divestment of its subsidiary International Biscuits as part of what the company describes as a strategic portfolio optimization initiative. International Biscuits, known for popular brands such as Butterkist and Snackables, also manufactures products for third-party brands including Ovaltine and Miss Birdie. Under the terms of the agreement, Seprod will...
Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of divestment is happening in this country. Could it be, ladies and gentlemen, that some of the investors that would readily come to Jamaica to make their big multi-million-dollar and multi-billion-dollar investments, they recognize that the country is going down a path, and under this leadership, there's not much to expect as it relates to your return on investment. A lot of them are pulling out. Nobody wants to have anything to do with this administration, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody wants to even be associated with this country in recent times. Of course, recession is coming. Believe you me, Donna, a recession is coming. And in the midst of the recession, this is what the government is doing. Somebody was calling me now, one of the supporters. Hold on. Let me call back. Hold on. A lot is happening in this country. A lot will be happening. Yes, caller, go ahead.
Good night, Sir Perry. I was just calling you to confirm on your point where you said absolutely no labor rights are holding their government accountable.
It's true. It's true.
Absolutely none. And you know the funniest thing about them?
Yes.
They keep saying everything is good. Economy is good, country running good, and nobody beg like them. Nobody beg like them. The other day I went into my little town that I live in Mapen area. And I saw 5 guys.
Yes.
3 known JLP members. And after 5, the 3 labor rights were begging me.
You give them color?
No, man. At least 1 bottle of water them couldn't get from me, man. I saw them in the election eating KFC, man, and I told them, I said, listen, enjoy it because you won't be able to buy it in another couple of months. And you know that KFC raised the other day. It was for a 2-piece. It was $1,050.
Yes.
No, it is $1,100, and it is going to be the price is going to increase again sooner, very soon, based on this what is happening in the world right now.
That's true. That's true.
But I don't know how one could really be comfortable with a parliament that right now you have persons sitting there who pleaded guilty for how many counts of fraud, collecting money by fraud. They are fine, and is still making is a part of the process of making law for people to go to prison. How could I be satisfied with that? How could I be satisfied with the Prime Minister who is the declaration of asset cannot be
certified?
Prime Minister did sign the political code of conduct. How could I be satisfied with that? You know, so it tells me that these people who voted Labour right are suffering from a very low IQ.
My God.
You know, and that's why my little take for tonight. I'm back in. I'll be back in class.
Yeah,
all right. So keep the fire burning.
Most definitely, blessings, man. Blessings. It is true, ladies and gentlemen. The Labourites are unwilling to hold their government accountable because it's their political party in power. It doesn't matter whether or not the PNP won or the JLP won. The government is to be held accountable. You shouldn't sell out your right, ladies and gentlemen, to make an independent decision as to who should be your representative in Garden House. There's absolutely no reason for you to sell out your vote for KFC and a little bit of money. You feel nice on election day. You look nice on election day. You feel good on election day. But not many days thereafter, you are back to square one. And I'm ending on this note with a question that I am asking the people of Jamaica. And I'm still going to appeal to the conscience, if there is any, of the Jamaica Labour Party supporters. Where is the prosperity? Where is the prosperity? Where can I find it? Where is the prosperity that was promised to Jamaicans 10 years ago? Where is the prosperity nationwide? Where is the prosperity, Mr. Holness? Where is the prosperity? Jamaica Labour Party, somebody say the prosperity escaping nearby bushes. Where is the prosperity? That's what I'm asking. Where is the prosperity? Should I find it in somebody's bank account? Someplace? Should I find it in some of these mansions? Should I find the prosperity? Is it that prosperity can only be found in God knows among the politicians? But I'm asking the question, and it will be a question that will haunt this country for years to come, as long as we're under this Jamaican. I've had enough. I've seen enough. Somebody say at the border, my God, where is the prosperity? Who have it? I would like to get a piece of the prosperity, ladies and gentlemen. And I've been hearing the Jamaica Labour Party supporters talk about. Somebody said up by Beverly Hills at such man house. I could never be a Labourite. You see, Labourites, they don't care about their fellow Jamaicans.
Cause one by one, who go into jail. One by who go into one by.
It was the People's National Party who told Labourites that one by one you all shall be going to prison. You see, so the JLPs, who they love my platform. Remember, I don't block them. So them enough up over here. They will see Ruel Reid trying to prevent his case from taking course. And they have no problem with that. Because they support corruption. They will see the Petrodam scandal. And they have no problem with Mr. Wheatley coming back to government and getting a promotion without consequences for action. They have no problem with that, ladies and gentlemen. Because at the end of the day, it is the Labourites who are in power. It is the Labourites. It is the Labourites who are in power. So we don't have no problem. Illicit enrichment, left, right, and center. Them not have no problem with that. Perry, why are you talking about these things, man? JLP win, so we have no problem. We don't care. Because the party I was representing, them win. So they take it for a joke. You think this is a game? You think governance is a joke? You think we can just put anybody in power? Because you were on the campaign trail last year? Wake up. Wake up, Labourites. And understand what will be hitting this country. Inflation will go up. We import more than we do export. We are an import dependent economy. We import all our food, medicine, and other resources. Agriculture has failed in this country under Minister Green. It's a poor representative for the Ministry of Agriculture. We have so many lands. And we have so many idle hands. What happened to the grow what we eat and eat what we grow? Well, we should be focusing on very important matters as it relates to agriculture in this country. The minister is going to ask us to consider using the excess tomatoes to make tomato juice for the children and to include it in their nutrition program. That is the focus now. Can you imagine? Look at health. I've heard nothing about the big scandal at the university hospital. Nothing. Because Jamaica has become accustomed to the corruption. So much so that nobody cares about when our leaders, either they are lacking the proper leadership to give proper oversight, or they themselves are directly involved in what is happening. So I hear Marsha the other night call and say, He would mind Mr. Trump come for the entire lot, the whole lot of them in the JLP. And these days, I wonder if that is the liberation that we need. How much more can you take? How much more can you endure, ladies and gentlemen? We have many Jamaicans, in the West, still suffering. No house, no light, no water, no hope. How much more can we endure? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me tonight. We had a late start, but I had to still get through a session with you tonight. Thank you for liking and sharing. Labor rights too, yeah man, like up the live continually. If you're new here and you've not yet subscribed, please do so. I'll give you more updates because guess what? All things being equal, when I should get a 9 to 5, I will have to push the time later. But I'm waiting. For now, we just wait to see what will happen where that is concerned. But thank you so much for joining. See you tomorrow at 6 p.m. Let us pray before we go. Father, we give you thanks for another day. We give you thanks for another show. We give you thanks that you are still in control. So many things are happening in our world. The children are dying. A lot of lives were lost. But even in Jamaica, children's lives are being lost too. And God, we're asking for you to look down on this country. Yes, we have some men and women in our leadership who have disregarded good governance. They care not for the vulnerable. They don't care for the poor. They care only for themselves, their friends, and their special interest groups. But Lord, we're asking for you to rid us of these uncaring politicians. Many of them, they go in parliament and they laughing at the people of this country when so many of our Jamaicans simply cannot do better. We're asking for a revival in this country. We're asking for you, Lord, to shake us like never before. Shake this place politically. Shake this place socially. Shake us, mighty God, so that we can understand that Jamaica can experience better. Jamaica can do more. Jamaica can achieve more. Jamaica can lift the standard. We don't have to accept this as the best. We don't have to accept this as the standard. To wake us up, Lord. Many of us are sleeping. Many of us, we've been caught in the trap of the tribal politicking and the political rhetorics. Many of us, we are looking through the lenses of green and orange. But Lord, now it is time for us to look through the lenses of the black, green and gold. To look through the lenses of the scriptures and to discern what is good for this country. Look down on Jamaica, Lord, and let your name be glorified. These and other mercies we ask of you in Jesus' name. Amen. The word is love. Let us say amen in the chat. We are praying. Listen, keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. That's what Jesse Jackson said. We're going to keep the hope alive in this country. It doesn't look good right now, ladies and gentlemen, but I am believing that a change will come. Trouble won't last always. And the darkest hour is just before dawn. Keep hope alive. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go out with Jesse Jackson's famous speech.
From the man himself. One of his most iconic speeches was his 1988 speech at the Democratic National Convention in Atlanta. It was the second unsuccessful run for the Democratic nomination for president, losing out to the Massachusetts governor, Michael Dukakis. But the speech went down in history.
Story. I wasn't always on television. Writers were not always outside my door. When I was born late one afternoon, October 8th, in Greenville, South Carolina, no writers asked my mother her name. Nobody chose to write down our address. A mama was not supposed to make it, and I was not supposed to make it. You see, I was born to a teenage mother who was born to a teenage mother. I understand. I know abandonment and people being mean to you and saying you're nothing and nobody and can never be anything. I understand. Jesse Jackson is my third name. I'm adopted. When I had no name, my grandmother gave me her name. My name was Jesse Burns till I was 12. So I wouldn't have a blank space. She gave me a name to hold me over. I understand when nobody knows your name. I understand when you have no name. I understand. I wasn't born in the hospital. Mama didn't have insurance. I was born in the bed at house. I really do understand. Born in a 3-room house, bathroom in the backyard, slop job by the bed, no hot and cold running water. I understand. Wallpaper used for decoration? No, for a windbreaker. I understand. I'm a working person's person. That's why I understand you, whether you're black or white. I understand work. I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I had a shovel programmed for my hand. My mother, a working woman. So many days she went to work early, with runs in her stockings. She knew better, but she rolled runs in her stockings so that my brother and I could have matching socks and not be laughed at school. I understand. At 3 o'clock on Thanksgiving Day, we couldn't eat turkey because Mama was preparing somebody else's turkey at 3 o'clock. We had to play football to entertain ourselves. And then around 6 o'clock, she would get off the Alta Vista bus and we would bring up the leftovers and eat our turkey, leftovers, the caucus, the cranberries, around 8 o'clock at night. I really do understand. Every one of these funny labels they put on you, those of you who are watching this broadcast tonight in the projects, on the corners, I understand. Call you outcast, low down, you can't make it, you're nothing, you're from nobody, subclass, underclass. When you see Jesse Jackson, when my name goes in nomination, your name goes in nomination. I was born in the slum, but the slum was not born in me. And it wasn't born in you, and you can make it. Wherever you are tonight, you can make it. Hold your head high. Stick your chest out. You can make it. It gets dark sometimes, but the morning comes. Don't you surrender. Suffering breeds character. Character breeds faith. In the end, faith will not disappoint. You must not surrender. You may or may not get there, but just know that you are qualified and you hold on and hold out. We must never surrender. America will get better and better. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. On tomorrow night and beyond. Keep hope alive. I love you very much.
Well,